Well, welcome to another broadcast with Win with Willie. Thank you guys for joining in. This is a special weekend, Valentine's Day weekend. I want to say happy Valentine's Day to all the queens out there, all the princes out there. Gentlemen, make sure you're doing and saying happy Valentine's Day. Yes, this is a great day. Oh, it's cold in the Dallas Fort Worth area, but it's warm inside. I caught you with a warm spirit and an open mind to listen to Win with Willie. So get ready, get set, and grow. Thank you for spending part of your time with me. Facebook family, I need for you to like, I need for you to make comments, and I need for you to share this with other folks that you know that need to hear this broadcast of Win with Willie. We are talking about helping you becoming the best version of you. My YouTube watchers, please like this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. To make comments. And this week, folks, we're talking about the law of the mirror. The law of the mirror. So get ready, get out. I got some great things for you that we're going to talk about this week, and we're going to add to this next week. Next week, I'll have a guest to add some credibility about the law of the mirror. And the law of the mirror states you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. So get that pen and paper out, open up your mind, open up your heart, and let's take some notes. Well, let me share this with you first. A new book I just added to my library, to my personal growth library, is called Think Again by Adam Grant, The Power of Know What You Don't Know. Let me read you a testimony from Bill and Melinda Gates. Think Again is a must read for anyone who wants to create a culture of learning and exploration, whether at home, work, or at school. In an increasingly divided world, this lesson in this book are more important than ever. That's Bill and Melinda Gates. So if you can add that to your library, I recommend as you do so. I have not started reading it yet, just read some of the forwards and read some of the chapters, looked at some of the chapters of content, but I'm looking forward to reading that book by Think Again by Adam Grant. You know, I always like to start out with a story, and this is about Gandhi. Gandhi was a transformational leader. When he left prison, there was only 6 people with him. By the time he got to the sea, there were 1 million persons with him. It took him 54 years to see India become independent. He was attacked, rejected, imprisoned, misrepresented, sick, and finally victorious. Here's what he said. First, they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they fight you. And then you win. And that's the purpose of me coming to you on a weekly basis, is to help you have a victorious life. There are going to be some struggles. There are going to be some struggles. And tonight we're going to talk about the man in the mirror, or the law of the mirror. But let me read to you a couple of statements. I just finished facilitating a hosting Live to Lead. And every October to February, we host the Live to Lead with the John Maxwell Enterprise. And these are some statements that resonated with me, and I hope they resonate tonight. This is one by Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey's, if you have not heard Steve Harvey's testimony, I encourage you to do so. But Steve Harvey said, and I have a couple from Steve Harvey, but your career is what you are paid for. Your calling is what you are made for. And the primary reason for us to come to you every week is to help you find that purpose and to help you find that calling, get to know you. And this one by Kat Cole, phenomenal chief executive officer, chief operating officer. And she uses the acronym FAIL, F-A-I-L. First attempt in learning. Think about that. FAIL, first attempt in learning. We're going to make many mistakes in lives. We are going to take many, many risks, and we're going to fail. And that's the ticket to being successful. And this is another one by Steve Harvey. I like this one as well. Faith that hasn't been tested can't be trusted. That's extremely powerful. You have to go through some things, and your faith is going to be tested. And when you come out, you can be trusted. You can share your story. You can let people know that I have a testimony and I came through this. And this is the last one that I picked up from John. Listen to John Maxwell speak. The dream is free. We have a lot of free dreams, but the journey is going to cost us something. Yes, it is. It's going to cost us something. So tonight we're going to talk about what is it going to cost you? The man in the mirror and the law of the mirror. You must see value in yourself to add value to self. And of course, the song that came out about Michael Jackson many, many years ago, The Man in the Mirror. I just got a couple phrases from it. No, I am not going to sing. I am not going to sing The Man in the Mirror, but I'm going to share a couple of stances from it. I'm going to make a change for once in my life. I'm going to feel real good. Going to make a difference. Going to make it right. And he goes on to say, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been even clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make the change. That's where it starts. That's where it starts. So we're about that tonight. So why do we always, I like to start out with this question as well. Why do we struggle with or not willing to invest in ourselves in our personal development? And this is what I've come up with. Now I'm coming from the 15th Invaluable Laws of Growth, chapter 3, the law of the mirror. And as always, why do so many people fail to grow to reach their full potential? Remember, faith that hasn't been tested can't be. See, you need to see the possibilities that God has for you. God has great things for all of us. We need to know our purpose to find out why. You know, I talked about this earlier in one of my lessons. Two most important dates in our lives is the date we were born and the day when we find out why. Look at all these possibilities. Look at all the possibilities that you have in your life. Think about this for a moment. Most of the problem that we have, and I have, is the person in the mirror and a low self-image in ourselves. Because let me say it this way. Value you put on yourself, the value you put on yourself is the value that the world is going to put on you. See, you cannot outperform your own self-image. It's impossible. This is what Zig Ziglar said. It's impossible to consistently behave in a manner inconsistent with how we see ourselves. We all struggle with that, how we see ourselves. We can do a lot of great things, but we'll never our self-image. And Nathaniel Bratton, a psychiatrist and expert in the subject of self-esteem, he said it like this: no factor is more important in a person's psychological development and motivation than the value judgments they make about them. We make about themselves. And I'm going to share a story of some folks planted some negative seeds in my life, but it came down to me making a decision about myself, And I want us to look in the mirror and make a decision about the man in the mirror. See, the value we placed on ourselves is usually always the value that others going to place on us as well. It's important that we live our lives. We live in our lives expecting to go somewhere. When you expect to go nowhere, that's where you end up, nowhere. I remember this statement that I gave a lot of my students. And I shared this. It was an expectation that was promoted towards my life. And it goes like this. And I'm not sure who the author of this quote is. This: low expectations, a teacher will call a child to fail. But low expectations from a parent are significant significant other will crush their soul. Those words are very powerful. And so sometimes when I talk about this law of the mirror and the man in the mirror and those low expectations, talk about the power of words, I always share with, especially when I'm speaking to parents, are the words that they're using for prophecy towards their children, prophecy toward people around them. Those words are powerful and they stick like glue. And so when that son or daughter grow up to be extremely successful because someone has spoke some greats in their lives, it may have not come from the parent or the environment, but somebody starts saying, I believe in you, and they start achieving. But when that son or daughter or that child or someone around you is not achieving, go back and track some of the language that they may have heard. And they still living out that prophecy. And sometimes I say this to some parents based on what they're saying to their children, because I've heard some negative things that parents have spoken to their children and not so polite, not so respectful, speaking destruction for their son or daughter's life. And when that son or daughter grows up and not being successful, sometimes I ask the parents, you should be celebrating because you have spoken that in that child's life. So I want to talk about some things tonight about how to build that self-image, how to eat those things. And I was subjected to those negative talks growing up as well. But the first thing we have to do, because we are talking to the man in the mirror, the law of the mirror, guard your self-talk. And let me say this before we get there. We're going to share, it's going to be 10 principles, how to build that self-image. Let me tell you what they are. The mail pads out. This week, we're going to just talk about 5. And next week, please come back and we're going to close it out with the 5. And we're going to have a person here that's going to help that lesson because they have lived through these principles of how to develop and build their self-image. The self-image. Hey, let me tell you what number one. Number one is go talk. That's number one. Just write number 1 down. Write number 2. Stop comparing yourself to others. We'll talk about it more. Number 3, move beyond your limited beliefs. That's number 3. Number 4, add value to others. That's number 4. Number 5, do the right thing even if it's hard to do. That's number 5. And then next week will be at number 6. Practice a small discipline daily in a specific area in your life. That's number 6. And number 7, celebrate those small victories. We'll talk about that. That's very important. And then number 8, embrace a positive vision for your life based on what your values. Number 8. And number 9, practice a 1-word strategy. And then number 10, take responsibility for your life. So the 10 principles we're going to talk about building that self-image. Let's talk about the first 5 tonight. Guard your self-talk. By the time you'll see, guess what you've heard more times than anything? Probably about 150,000 times you've heard the word. Yes, you probably heard it maybe 5,000 times. So you got accustomed to hearing no. And that no, you start telling yourself no, because that's what you've been conditioned to hear. Let me share a quick story about you, especially with my mom. My mom has been deceased now for quite a few years, but I grew up, and I'm number 10 out of 12 kids, and I'm the youngest son. As we say, my big brothers will call Jeff as the baby boy. Well, I would ask for certain things. And no, we don't have money, so I wasn't asking for anything expensive because we just didn't. Just want to go down the road and play with my friends. I literally down the road, out of the woods, down the road to play with my friends, and certainly can't be caught out when it's dark. But the default is no. That seems to be the default word is no. But to me, I settle for no. I always come back and ask later. And she would say no again. I would ask again. She would say again. If I didn't get a yes that day, I will come back tomorrow and ask that same question again and get permission. Mom would get exhausted and say, boy, go ahead. Go ahead. And I would celebrate, of course. But what was conditioned conditioning to me, no, I am going to get a no, that I refuse to be resolved and settle for that no. So what am I asking you? You are going to get told no a lot. Yeah, if it's something dangerous, you should be told no. But it's something that you want. Don't tell yourself no. Take that risk. Make sure you're seeking that yes. I tell my leaders when I'm talking to leaders, because sometimes leaders, they'll say no to their employees. And I say this to leaders, no one is working for you. People are working with you. But when people are bringing you ideas and opportunities, don't automatically say no. Leaders are looking for ways to say yes. Maybe not now, but later. Look for opportunities because you're giving your people permission to bring you creative ideas by listening to them and saying yes. Let's go test it and see if it works. If it doesn't work, let's try something else. But you have to be looking for opportunities. But part of our default system, since we've been told no more times than yes, we automatically default to no. So the self-talk, make sure you guard your self-talk. Look at the possibilities. That's number one, your self-talk. Number two, and we do this quite often, stop comparing yourself to others. It's not going to help you get anywhere. There's always someone better than you at doing certain things. Stop comparing yourself to others. You are uniquely, differently, and special, just who you are. You are the person in the mirror. There's no other person like you. Your mission and your purpose is for you and no one else. So you can't compare yourself to anyone else. I know we struggle with that. I struggled with that growing up, looking at people that are being successful. But this is what I share with leaders because I am about growing. I want to get around people that's doing it better than me. That way I can mimic some of the things they're doing to be successful, to grow. This is what I'll also tell leaders. If you are the smartest one in the room, you are in the wrong room. Why? There's no opportunity for you to grow and get better. You need to be around people that's doing it better than you are so you can grow. That was number two. Number three, move beyond your limited beliefs. That goes back to number one. Stop saying no to yourself. I've been trapped in limited beliefs. I got told practically all my teenage years, I can't, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. Let me tell you, you can. You can. Get away from around people that's robbing you of your dreams. They're distracting from your dreams. Okay. I like what this statement is saying by Charles Schwab. Charles, when a man has put a limit on what he will do, he has put a limit on what he can do. Charles Schwab, let me repeat that. When a man has put a limit on what he will do, he has put a limit on what he can do. Listen to what author Jack Canfield's limited belief. This is going to be a help for you and it's a help for me because I'm always talking to myself. Identify that limited belief. Where did it come from? I had some limited belief in my environment. I won't even begin to tell you some of the things that some of my teachers told me when I was growing up. It wasn't positive, so I'm repeat some of it, but I might even share a story with you tonight before we get off this call. Determine the limit of your belief. Where did it come from? To decide how you and want to be, act, and feel. Make a decision and then take action. And then create that turnaround that affirms or gives you permission to be who God has called you to be. I can, I will, I can, I will, I will, I can, and I will. I can if I think I can. And this is the story that happened to me when I was working on my bachelor's degree. I was stationed at Dyes Air Force Base and I was working on my bachelor's degree and I was taking a literature class at McMurray University. And the teacher brought in a metal can. At that time, they were metal and a vegetable can have taken off the outside labor, taken an embossing gun and put a craft doll's eye or animal eye and glued it on the can. And above the eye, I can, and below the eye, if I think I can. Metal can. I still have that metal can. That was many, many years ago. And I was an active duty first sergeant. Very nice office, but that's me. And I took that can to work and put it on my desk at work. When people came in to see me and they say, First Sergeant, what is this metal can doing on your desk? It was certainly out of place, but I'm glad they asked because the conversation started about the beliefs. I can if I think I can. Move beyond our limited beliefs. Number 4, add to others. You can easily forget about some of your problems and realize how blessed you are by adding value others. Make a difference in someone else's life. I embody that significantly. I like to share this story, and but I like to make it relevant because, yeah, according to American standards, my family and we grew up extremely poor. According to Americans, I have traveled the globe and I realized that I was not poor because I've seen some very, 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 very damaging situations, some very, very, very sluggish. But my father, we would butcher a hog late spring or early summer because that was our primary meat, was hogs and chickens. And people lived out of the woods down the road, had electricity. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water. We didn't have any indoor plumbing, no telephone, no car. None of those amenities that you take for granted. No, I did not grow up with those things. But my father would butcher that hog. And after we would butcher that hog, we would wrap it in paper because we didn't have the butcher wrapping paper or whatever, would it be newspapers or wrapping papers or magazine papers? Probably most of the stuff that came in the mail, we would save it and recycle it. Yes. And we would take pieces of that meat and knock on our neighbor's door and share what we had, a substance that we had with people that had a lot more than we did. Adding value to others. My father modeled that when I was growing, making sure that I was not concerned about what I was going through and thinking I was poor, didn't even know that I was poor. You know why I knew how I knew I was? Because I started comparing myself to others and realizing that what I was going through was significantly value to where I am today, to be able to share this story, to be able to add value to others. And number 5 for tonight is do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. Based on your values, keep your values intact, keep your integrity intact. Currently, right now, I'm facilitating Change Your World transformation tables based on values. It is happening around the globe right now. I had an opportunity to facilitate my first Change Your World transformation table this past Thursday with some significant leaders in my community where I live in Allen, Texas. These are adults, some a couple of years younger than I am, but one was my age. And we're talking about hope. We're talking about values. We're talking about value in everyone, talking about value in people, doing the right thing. It's important that we be true to our values because that is going to be your self-image builder, that you focus on your values. Do the right thing. Be optimistic and be positive. Guess what? We just covered 5 out of the 10. Guard your self-talk. Make sure you tell yourself yes and start doing some of those things and dream. Stop comparing yourself to others. You are uniquely and wonderfully made as you are. You have your own purpose. God made you who you are. You don't need to compare yourself with others. Yes, we all struggle with that. Move beyond those limited beliefs. Get around people that are adding value to you and pour it into your dreams and not distracting from your dreams. Is telling you yes. And make sure if you're doing that, you don't be You do not be robbing someone else of their dreams. Make sure you add in value to them as well and grow their belief. Don't distract from their dreams. When people tell you they're want to do some things, how can I help you? As leaders, these are the 3 questions you should be asking. How are you doing? What are you working on? And how can I help you with that? And people will share their dreams and you be part of the help and the solution. And then number 4, add value to others. Sure you're doing that, adding value to others. And number 5 for tonight is do the right thing, even if it's a hard thing. Stay true to you and be with me next week. We're going to continue with the rest of these, which is number 6, practice a small discipline daily. That's number 6, celebrate those small victories. I struggle with that. Embrace a positive vision of your life based on your values. That's number 8. And practice that one-word strategy. I know some people get up every morning to speak that one word. That's the one-word strategy. And then number 10, take responsibility for your life. That's where we'll be next week. Bring a friend. Share this. Take notes. Practice this. I want you to be the best version that God has made for you. Your purpose is special. You are value. Value who you are. The hardest person to lead is a man in the mirror. The law of the mirror. You must see value in yourself in order to add value to yourself. Let's stop struggling with our personal development, and because we can't give what we don't have. So that concludes the session for this week. Tune in next week. This is what to do. I'm going to share this banner right quick, but I want you to subscribe to my book club. Absolutely. And that's my website, jeffwillie.com. You want to go to my book club, just go to jeffwillie.com and go to on the menu bar and you'll see the book club. Yes. And guess what? I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can replay this and replay this. You can download this audio and video so you can share it with your friends. You can share it with your family. You can share it with your children. I want you to grow. I want to help me grow so I can keep adding value to me, so I can keep adding value to you. Get ready, get set, grow. See you next week. Be blessed. Happy Valentine's Day.